This is Gracie. She pants, she eats, she lives in this Midlothian home.
Of all the dogs I have now or have had in the past, this is probably the most docile.
We first met Gracie 7 years ago after she was rescued from her previous owner's home in Surrey County. That owner was NFL star Michael Vick. He and his 3 friends operated what they called Bad News Kennels on the property behind this house from 2002 until April 2007. When authorities raided the home, seizing more than 50 dogs, Gracie was among them. This is what she looked like then. This is what she looks like now. Her elbows the only physical reminders of the now infamous dog-fighting ring.
I want to apologize.
The case brought protesters, spectators, and a media circus to downtown Richmond every time Vick made a court appearance. He would later plead guilty and be sentenced to nearly 2 years in federal prison. As for the dogs rescued, some, including Gracie, were initially held here at the Hanover County Animal Shelter.
Dogs, that will come to you.
But their future at the time was far from certain. Some animal rights groups said they should be euthanized, claiming that it would be impossible to rehabilitate animals that had suffered so much physical and emotional abuse.
This is about as barbaric as it looks.
Now, almost exactly 7 years later, the new operator of the former Vick property, Mark Heyer, allowed our cameras inside the sheds where the dogs were trained to fight to see the abuse firsthand.
Wow.
Where old syringes and old cages can still be found, seemingly untouched since the day of the raid.
Follow on up.
We climbed up the ladder to the room where the fighting occurred. Chairs and clothes, even beer cans left over. Heyer says from the last fight 7 years ago.
There would be dog blood.
Heyer told us how blood would be placed in these floor cutouts because the smell excited the dogs. He showed us where B&K, Bad News Kennels, is inscribed on a piece of wood. This is where they would hang the dogs if they didn't perform well?
Yes, sir. There was a 2x4 ran across here. They would be hung up like a piñata.
But this isn't a story about fighting, Michael Vick, or even these sheds. It's a story of 47 animals like Gracie who defied the odds and have gone on to live amazing lives. They're nicknamed the Vick-tory dogs. After all, before Vick's arrest, fighting canines were almost always euthanized. Sharon Cornett is Gracie's owner.
Honestly, I think her legacy is to show that the public has absolutely nothing to fear.
If surviving wasn't enough, the Vick-tory dogs have become icons in the animal world. Gracie's Guardians was founded here in Richmond to raise awareness for pit bull welfare. The group makes numerous public appearances. This is Gracie at a local festival. Here she is at Chesterfield's Tech Center.
Gracie's personality is pretty much what you see here.
Will Lowry runs Gracie's Guardians and says similar groups featuring other Vick dogs have started nationwide. While most of the rescued dogs went to the Best Friend Animal Sanctuary in Utah for rehabilitation and then adoption, others, like Leo in California, became therapy dogs themselves. Leo comforted cancer patients for 4 years until his death in 2011.
Pit bulls to run for president.
But Lowry says perhaps the greatest legacy of these 4-legged survivors, who are now in their final years, is that abused animals are now more likely to be adopted.
Come on, baby.
The Stock family of Henrico telling us they were inspired to adopt 2 abused animals because, well, if the Vick dogs could still love, surely these guys could too.
If you love them and take care of them, they will be fine.
I think everybody involved would probably admit that there was a lot learned about those dogs and how to handle them and what their future might hold.
Even the place where all this started has been transformed. Vick's $1 million property, now probably the most expensive dog house in the world. Good News Rehab treats abused animals there. Vick's former living room, now an animal retreat that Heyer operates.
Hopefully we have the ability to provide some good here.
He's got a great bark.
Robin Starr with the Richmond SPCA says the Vick dogs have changed laws too. She says new felonies and stricter penalties have reduced dog fighting in Virginia.
Made ours one of the stiffest animal fighting felony laws in the country, and provided that all forms of animal fighting now are a felony in Virginia.
In Vick's memoir, the quarterback writes, second chances are not any easier than the first. It's clear that if you spend any time with Gracie, you quickly understand Vick isn't the only one who's taken advantage of a second chance.